In this video, quickly about random numbers in Excel. So if you read the content, I basically told you that you can generate random numbers by just typing the rand formula and just open and close the parentheses, and here you go, you hit enter and you have a random number. You can have as many as you want by just pulling the formula down. Okay, so I have here 9 random numbers. Let's put a 10th one, and you can see that each time I manipulate something, if I were just to enter a blank and enter, I will regenerate new numbers. Okay, so if I type another formula here and I want to sum something, that plus that, for example, each time I hit enter, new numbers will be generated. So it's quite unstable here. Each time I do something, if I hit, each time I hit Shift F9, it will regenerate numbers as well. So you can see that it's quite unstable. So one way to go to stabilize my number might be just to copy and then paste just the numbers. Okay, I want to have all my zeros and stuff. Okay, like that I store my numbers and I have stable numbers, and I can work with that simulation that I generated once. Okay, and I don't need to worry about the fact that things will be modified each time I type something, or and so I can erase that and just have a stable simulation. Say that's what I had during that simulation. Those are the 10 numbers I had generated, and they are stable. Okay. Another way, the thing is, I don't know how they were generated. I don't know how to reproduce those numbers. So I just need to make sure that I store them and that I won't lose those numbers. Otherwise, I will have to generate new ones. And I cannot really remember all those numbers all the way down to those decimals. Okay. So one alternative way for that is actually to use the to go into the data tab and use the data analysis tool pack and the random number generation tool. Okay, and what it will do is ask for a number of variables. So I say here I have only one variable, but I want to iterate it 10 times. By default it says discrete distribution, but we were in uniform between 0 and 1, okay, for my rand variable. And I will want my output range to be in B2, for example. So I will have 10 numbers that will be generated randomly between 0 and 1. The thing is, I can say what seed I want to use, okay? And the seed is basically a kind of index that will make sure that I get a certain sequence of numbers. And then if you were to generate the same thing, a random number between 0 and 1 with uniform distribution with the same seed as I do, you should have exactly the same sequence. So let's say OK, and here we go. I have a sequence here. I generated those 10 numbers, and you will see that if I were to generate again the same thing in another cell, let's say this cell, between 0 and 1, uniform distribution, I want 10 numbers, same seed, seed number 1, and I have exactly the same numbers generated again. So if I remember my seed, I know what numbers I will have. I can reproduce them. So it can be interesting in a simulation to make sure that I can regenerate exactly the same example I had. Okay. In case I were to find a particular case or an exception to a rule, something, I want to refer exactly where the exception was, if I want to prove it, if I want to demonstrate it again. Okay, so I have stable numbers, and I know how to generate exactly the same numbers all the way down to the last decimal again and again, because I know my seed. I cannot tell you how many seeds we have available in Excel, so you will have to toy with that. But basically, you can say seed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whichever seed you want, until probably a certain limit, and play like that. Well, that's it about random numbers. One more thing that I said that I covered in the content. If you want to have discrete distribution, then you type rand between and the bottom and the top bounds, and you will have discrete numbers. So here no decimal point. If I were to add zeros to those things, it would be 0.000. Okay, you see, this is 1, 6, 3. So if I were to roll a die, for example, between 1 and 6, that's what I would use rand between. Then in the data analysis toolpack, you've seen that I can use different distributions. Okay, so it's a little bit like putting the rand function inside a norm function or something like that. Okay, but that I let you see that with in other classes of Buddha. We won't cover probabilities and probability distribution in this class. Okay, here we go. And with those tools, with the random number generator, well, it's easy to generate simulation, Monte Carlo simulation in Excel, just as you've seen in the other video.